All right, lots to get across. Joining me now, Sky's political contributor, Chris Yeoman. Chris, we'll start with the leadership change on Friday on the coalition side, on the Liberal Party side, to be specific. Early days, but it appears certainly that Taylor's out there front and centre. He wants his messages to be the economy, taxes, inflation, all of those got to mention. But very much he's put immigration in the frame, not just the quantum, but the quality. Now, 3 days, let's put a bit of caution here, 3 days in, but that Resolve poll overnight showed almost immediately he's got the Liberal Party or the coalition neck and neck with One Nation on a 23% primary. If you put Susan Lee back in the top job, that gulf opens up between the coalition and One Nation. So early days, but he's got a little bit of goodwill from voters. He's going to have to move fast though, isn't he? Because people are close to stopping listening to the coalition and they have been disappointed for some time.
Oh yeah, Peter, it is a very little bit that he's improved the margin, and it begins now all the work that he has to do over the course of a couple of years, and he has to understand that is day in, day out, week in, week out of traversing Australia, making sure that you have message discipline, making sure that you have policies that will actually begin to draw people back into your party and to try and rebuild the trust that has been broken. And that's the hardest part, of course, because all of us know in life that once you lose trust in someone, getting that trust back is very difficult. So these are very, very early days. And it reminds me, Peter, that I saw Tony Abbott in the second time around. So he goes through an election campaign, goes neck and neck with Julia Gillard in 2010. I think maybe in about 2013, 2014, I saw him in Alice Springs talking to about 4 people in a bar. He was clearly exhausted, but he had been lapping the nation with the same message for pretty near 6 years. He put in the work. Now Angus Taylor and his team has to put in the work.
He's also got to put his best team on the paddock. I made this point very strongly on Friday, and I've written about it over the weekend as well. He has to look past mates. If they're not up to it, they might be people that have been supporters for some time. He can't put them on the front bench. If they're enemies, but they are enemies with cut-through and intellect, provided, you know, they're not Machiavellian, if they're on the other side of the factional divide to him, but they are absolutely the best people in those portfolios, he has to look past that and put them in his front bench team. Because if they succeed, if the best people in the best roles succeed, well, he'll succeed, and he doesn't get 2 shots at this.
No, and as Benjamin Franklin once famously said, we'll either all hang together or we'll all hang separately. So now the Liberal Party has to get the message that this is all about discipline. They have a very short period of time to try and rebuild an enormous hill which they have demolished themselves to get back to being anything like a credible party. And they're up against not just the Labor Party, they're up against a very disciplined One Nation party. And I expect that over the course of the next 6 months or so, we'll see One Nation come forth with some very credible candidates. What they need to also do is put some policy around the bones. It may well be that One Nation gets in front of the Liberal Party at some stage, because people are clearly going beyond just wanting to experiment, but to actually have a punt with One Nation, and we'll find out how deep that goes when we see the South Australian election.
And not just draft up the policy, Chris, they've got to get it out. I mean, this policy that leaked out today that had been, I think, only really developed in Susan Lee's office with the shadow minister, hadn't gone to shadow cabinet, certainly not gone to the party room, that they would put 13 countries with links to Islamist extremists on some sort of watch list and limit, very strongly limit visas for people from those countries. I think most people watching at home would be surprised that that isn't currently the practice. It is not. Labor currently takes people from all of these countries. Many of them, as you know, we can't properly security check. But again, this is also the problem. Susan Lee had a real policy constipation in her office, and that's got to change under Taylor.
Yeah, look, I don't know why that didn't come out. And when it comes to immigration, there are two issues. One is the numbers themselves, and that's just too many. That's a simple message that you get out there. And the other one, obviously, is the values piece. And I thought it amusing today when I saw people talking about this extreme right-wing policy out of Susan Lee's office, which Angus Taylor is going to pick up. Yeah, well, guess who's trying to do it in the UK? Keir Starmer, that well-known far-right leader. So countries around the world have got the message on immigration. And it's a message that actually started in Australia under the Howard government, that was amplified under the Abbott government and then under every other iteration of the coalition. And now it is bipartisan policy in Australia. So if they start talking about immigration numbers and about people needing to align with our values, they can forget all the noise that they'll get in the media and all the do-gooder groups. They'll be getting head nods in lounge rooms around Australia. They need to stick to their guns.
And he wants to show people who don't share our values the door, doesn't share Australian values, as Angus Taylor. Should he show Malcolm Turnbull the door, given he doesn't share Liberal Party values?
Well, that's a matter for Angus. It should surprise no one that Malcolm Turnbull has had a list for some time now, is checking it twice to find out who's naughty and nice when it came to his last government, and he's been taking some of those people out. Can I say he's been most effective at it, and he's made no secret about the fact that he's campaigning against the Liberal Party, because it wasn't that long ago, I think, that he went down to Kooyong and had an event with Monique Ryan. And that's a seat, obviously, the Liberal Party would desperately like to get back, and might even say Josh Frydenberg might be thinking about running there again. So, look, again, this is no great surprise to anyone. Malcolm Turnbull's very angry at his former party. Seems to be a bit of a habit, though, I've got to say, Peter, of former Liberal leaders, Malcolm Fraser, John Hewson, Malcolm Turnbull, they all seem to fit into that mould after they leave their party, that they're very deeply angry with it.